I'm not too sure if everyone's recovered from the weekend, but it is Monday morning. This is the Monday morning wrap-up from Forty20, looking back at the end of the regular season in Super League and the first weekend of the playoffs in the Championship and League One. Bit of Women's Super League. Women's Super League to come later as well. Right, League One first of all. We've had our first two semi-finals, and the results are as follows. Hunslet 24, Workington 32. Hunslet season, I'm afraid, has come to an end. Workington will now face Newcastle Thunder, who were beaten on home soil by Doncaster, or home rubber. 20 points to 6. So Doncaster, they're through the semi-final, and they will play Oldham away from home next weekend at some point, or this weekend. The winner of that game goes straight through to the playoff final. The loser goes into the semi-final or the preliminary final, where they will meet the winner of Newcastle versus Workington. Right, clear. Right, yes. Championship. Toulouse, they're through to play Toronto in the game probably no one wanted to win. They beat York 44-6. York's win, or defeat rather, means they will next face Featherstone Rovers, who beat Big Spending Lee, as I believe we're contractually obliged to call them, 34 points to 18 in a belter of a physical contest on Sunday night. Next weekend then, on Saturday afternoon, York will host Featherstone. Winner of that goes through to the preliminary final, if I could say it. And the loser of Toronto versus Toulouse will meet them in that one, and the winner of that will go straight through to the playoff final. Right, I think that's all clear. I think. Right, in Super League this weekend, plenty of things happened. On Thursday, Wigan beat Castleford 26 points to 8. In a game which meant that Castleford had to rely on St Helens to beat Hull. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? Yes, it was St Helens by 22 points to 6, which condemned Hull to life outside the playoffs. Saints a 16-point gap between themselves and the rest of the division, which is a record. And Tommy Makinson's first half hat-trick made him the Super League top try scorer. Let's hear it from the Saints coach. It is, of course, Justin Holbrook.
We expected a really tough game, and we got that. I thought it was pretty end-to-end stuff in the first half, and really fast game. And obviously, the second half wasn't terrific, but first half come up with some good tries and defended really well all game again. And just happy to get the win, I guess.
You mentioned your defence there. Was that particularly pleasing, considering you probably a little bit off your timing and stuff in the second half under pressure, but you had to defend some significant amount on your line and never really looked like buckling?
No, that's great. The side, they work so hard for each other, and it shows by how much defence we had to do tonight due to us not being great with the ball. But that's puts us in good stead. As I said, we wanted a really tough hit out. We got it, and we've earned the right to have a week off and get ourselves ready for the finals.
So much on the line for Hull, they were bound to come fired up and give it tough. Do you feel as though you got a playoff intensity type game there?
Oh, definitely. As I said, in particular the first half was a really fast game, and we knew Hull had everything to play for tonight, so it was always going to be hard, and we got that, and I thought we handled it well and come away with a good win in the end.
That would give almost sort of ideal preparation going into, I know you've got the week off, but that'll be the sort of hit out you want going into these type of games.
Oh, definitely, yep, absolutely. Exactly what we're after, and we do need a week off. I think we played 33 weeks straight now, so a week off's perfect for us. Give us a chance to freshen up a bit, but also get some hard training in. We don't have to prepare for a game, and obviously play the winner of Wigan Salford.
Tommy Makinson, a word for him again, showed his finishing skills, didn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant, Tommy. I thought he's the best by far tonight. When a night when we weren't great with the ball, he still comes up with those great finishes, but he gets us out of our own end better than anyone in the game, and he did that for us tonight and showed what a great player he is. And as I said, I thought he's our best by a long way tonight.
How pleasing was it to absorb all of that pressure, particularly in the second half, and then find the energy and the class to get over for 2 late tries?
Yeah, we definitely made it very hard on ourselves, but to be able to, as you said, absorb all that pressure and then go down the other end and score some points is really pleasing, and it's something we're we're going to have to face in the coming weeks, and it was a real good test for us tonight. It was great that we come away with a good win.
Is there anything in particular you've highlighted that you want to see improve for when you play in the playoffs?
Oh no, look, I just think to look at our side now, we've played 29 rounds, and to be good enough to finish 16 points clear of second spot is just a huge effort, and I think when you do sit that far in front, everyone just wants to talk about all the other sides, but one of the reporters told me the other week, he said if you stay 16 points clear, it's the biggest winning margin over second place in the history of the game over here. So I thought, well, that's a huge effort. So, while tonight we weren't great, but to play 29 rounds of rugby league and finish 16 points clear a second. Look, it doesn't win you a trophy at Old Trafford. We won the league leaders, but it's just a huge credit to the playing group for being able to turn up every week and play at a certain level that's good enough to win games. And huge credit to them, and as I said, we'll enjoy the week off.
So the Saints finished top, Castleford in 5th, Hull in 6th, Wigan in 2nd, and Salford managed to finish in 3rd because they beat Hull Kingston Rovers on golden points on the final game of the season. I've heard this before somewhere. They won by 17 points to 16. Here is the man who probably is going to be coach of the year. Well, he is for many people. It's Ian Watson.
Brings memories back, doesn't it, that one? Not as obviously, it was tense, but probably not as nervous as the last time we played the Golden Point game, to be fair. Obviously, OKR stayed up on the back of it as well, so both teams kind of probably got out what they wanted to get out of the game today.
Yeah, another win to notch up on the 8 on the run now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
that? Yeah, the boys have been great. We've said it as we've gone along. The boys have really kind of stuck to kind of the processes of what have got them there, which is kind of a work ethic, which was what was really disappointed with in the first half, to be fair. We fell off that. We started trying to play a different way, chasing the game, forcing some silly offloads and forcing the ball in good ball positions, and our last plays weren't good enough. Spoke about that, but the boys in the second half have come out and shown that they could turn the tide when not playing so well, to be fair.
Happy to get 30 in, and that means obviously you get that second bite at the apple if you do lose next week.
Yeah, no, it means we go to Wigan. I think Wigan are probably a lot along with ourselves at the moment, probably the form team in the competition and looking like the best team in the competition at the moment, the way they've been playing as well. So really excited to go there and see what we can do. No one obviously expects us to be in this position. If we play like we did first half, we'll come unstuck. But if we can play like we have been doing over the last few weeks and stick with the processes and trust each other in that, then I'm sure we can cause a few problems.
I suppose out of the top 5 in the playoffs, Salford have got the least nerves, haven't they? They've got nothing to lose in effect.
Yeah, you'd think that, but we looked the more nervous team in the first half today. It looked like we were playing to stave off relegation. I thought OKR were really composed first half. I thought they were being marshalled around the field. They weren't forcing any passes. They were playing the right game. We spoke at half time and said how we had to kind of mirror that really, and if we were patient then we'd get the result on the back end of it. But the game's worked out really good for us. The playoffs coming up, the tight games, and if you're in tight games you need to know how to turn a tide and be able to get the win, and that's what we've done today, so all credit to us.
Obviously it's a daunting task going to Wigan, but I guess Salford don't fear anyone.
Yeah, no, like I say, we weren't expected to be in the playoffs. Everyone had wrote us off and said we'd get relegated along with London, so we've got to approach the playoffs now as we can be the ones who are a little bit more confident and kind of a little bit play with confidence really and not feel the pressure on us, because like I said, people didn't want us to be here. We'll put pressure on ourselves to perform and make sure we do the right things, but we're confident in whichever team we play against that we can cause them problems.
So Warrington missed out on a chance to finish 3rd, and don't forget they were 2nd for a long time this season. They finished 4 points behind Wigan, which is some fall from grace. Warrington finished 4th, and they managed to lose their final game of the season away at the Leeds Rhinos. 26 points to 4. We'll hear from Steve Price in a moment, but first here's the brand new official head coach of the Rhinos, Richard Agar.
Yeah, obviously terrific. Emotion were going to play a big part in tonight, we felt, with Jonesy, for him personally, but we knew the crowd would thrive on that, and I thought our players thrived on it as well. I thought defensively we were pretty good. We had to make some strong last-ditch efforts, but I thought throughout the contest, defensively we held up really well, and started to kick the ball a little bit better after that opening period. And we said, if we go toe to toe, we're happy to get in the grind and set for set. We'll get some chances in there too. So yeah, pleasing win, and pleasing that we stayed in it, went on with it, and won pretty comfortably in the end. Yeah, so terrific night for Jonesy. Led the side. Obviously, he was skipper, but led the side. A tremendous example as well. And we've had quite a few leaving dues for him, or leaving functions, if you like. And he's rolled a few speeches out, but a real precious moment, really. I think a few of the boys welling up. We got his wife and children and mum in to present his shirt in the changing rooms, probably an hour before kick-off. Which was a little bit of a surprise for him, but yeah, I thought on the back of that, our boys invested the right amount of emotional energy into the game.
Envisage him kicking a goal in his final.
No, and I was still sort of at that point thinking, we got to bring this game home. And when he starts rubbing his boot up the back of his sock, and I'm looking at his run up thinking, I'm not right sure about this. But anyway, come with the hour, come with the man.
In terms of looking forward, you wanted to set a marker for next season with this final game, and do you think you've done that?
A couple of things about that. We didn't want the off-season to be a long, we'd always said we wanted to go out on the right note, and these last two games, once the relegation issue were put to bed, were really important to us. It sounds, I guess, a little bit corny really, but we've had a league table up from, I guess, when we had his reboot, when we all sat around together and said, what do we want out of this year? And I think our form over 14 or 15 games, I've not done the maths on this, but it's around top 4 or 5, which, given some of the close ones, it could have been better, but at the same time, that's a real credit to the boys for how they turned the season round. But also, we didn't want a long off season and dwelling on a couple of defeats to go out with. So yeah, it leaves us, I think, positive about where we can take the squad and what we can achieve.
Do you have a few words to Tom Lynham, one in the corner, just diving quite a bit early?
Yeah, no, I haven't. No, I haven't spoken to Tom at all yet. There was a number of things in the game I wasn't happy with, and what we can control is what we do with the ball. When you're in possession of the ball, when you play the ball, and we can control tackle management. And credit to Leeds, they were better in that regard tonight.
You're not the first team, Steve, that struggled post Wembley. Do you think there is a hangover, for want of a better phrase, mentally more than anything?
That's a good question. Time will tell. Hopefully, ask me that in a couple of weeks' time. But we've been managing the training loads quite well. We've been trying to freshen up a few players, and we are a team that performs better when it's backs to the wall, and we've been performing pretty good when it's been knockout footy this year. So ask me that question in a couple of weeks, but we're at home next week, so it's going on.
Castleford next weekend, like you said, it's knockout football, anything can happen. What are your thoughts of facing them in the playoffs?
Yeah, I haven't really, we've just come off the pitch now, so I haven't really thought about them next week. So it's more about just getting our house in order this week, and tidying up a few things and getting back to what we do well.
How far do you think you are away? Because even as disappointing as you were, there were still chances for you to score some points tonight, maybe get back in the game.
Yeah, there were. We created 2 or 3 opportunities. I thought, the one in the corner over there, when Ben Curry threw the long pass to Tommy Lynham, scores in the corner. It's game on again, and there was another one there in the first half. So, but can't take nothing away from Leeds. They were good tonight. They had everything to play for a club legend, and I think he deserves a big rap for what he's done for the game. He's a great ambassador, and he plays the game tough. So I wish Jamie all the best in the future.
Yeah, and Deck Patton and Joe Fulham, will they be back next week?
Yeah, not quite sure. We'll just have to get a check on them throughout the week. So I can't really answer that for you at the moment.
What was wrong with both of them?
Just lower leg injuries, one.
tough life being a coach, Steve, isn't it? 2 weeks ago, your team's flavour of the month, and now it feels a bit doom and gloom, even though you are in the top 5 and it's all to play for.
Yeah, that's a roller coaster, isn't it, rugby league? But as I said, I know what sort of footy team I've got here, and we can easily fix a number of things, and we get that right throughout the week and get out a good opportunity, for next Thursday against a good team in Cass, and we'll get the gloves on again and championship rounds, isn't it? We've done the hard work now. It's these are the championship rounds when finds out your true believers.
What's your message to the fans after that who travelled over?
Oh, we've had fantastic support, all year, Matt. So, we've got a wonderful, supportive group who get behind the boys, stay solid. In the semi-finals next week, there's any team can win it on their day, but we need to get back to our style of footy, and I know we can easily fix that.
So Leeds finished 8th. Catalans finished 7th because they were losers. They were beaten at the Huddersfield Giants, 24 points to 22. I think everyone pretty much predicted a Giants winning that one because, as we've seen in recent weeks, and you've seen it for yourself as well, they're rubbish these days. Catalan Dragons, plenty of work for Steve McNamara and Bernard Gouache et al. To do in the off-season. One game we haven't mentioned, and that was the game at the Mobile Rocket Stadium. Wakefield versus London, winner takes all. And the loser, as someone once said, takes the fall. And unfortunately for London, it was them. 8-0 down at half-time. Wakefield winning 19 points to 10 in the end of the game, which in reality, I'm not sure they ever really looked in too much danger. We'll hear from Danny Ward in a moment, but first, a relieved Chris Chester.
I couldn't have asked for any more from my players tonight. I thought they were excellent. I thought our first 40 minutes probably the best we defended all season. It's certainly been probably the most challenging time in my coaching career. I know the players have felt that as well. But the way they've come out tonight and played under that much pressure is a credit to them. They were fantastic tonight. Had some good senior guys. I thought Bruffy's kicking game were excellent. I thought Milky controlled the game really, really well, and Kalepitang, is a freak. He is an 80-minute performance again from Kalepi. Listen, absolutely delighted. Makes me more determined to make sure that we get pre-season right and make sure that we're not in this situation in 12 months' time. I'm fairly confident with getting some bodies. When we do get this best team out on the field, that we'll be fine. Delighted, massive result for the club, and pleased for everybody involved.
So much at stake. Did you feel you handled the occasion better than London tonight?
Yeah, probably. With the performance that we put in, and a lot's been made about a media blackout, or I just wanted to try and keep the pressure off the players as much as we can, and being genuine, I say this: the relegation word's never been mentioned in the dressing room by me or anybody else, and like I said, I think they handled the pressure really, really well, considering.
Sleep well tonight?
I don't think I'll go up to sleep. I don't know why I've got half a pint. I've just spoke to the missus and just told her I'm not coming home till Monday, so I'm all.
You got the green light?
Well, I don't think she's too happy about it, but
you're going to lie if you fancy it.
Listen, it's just a huge relief. The pressure's off now for another 3 or 4 months till we get back into, or a couple of months till we get back into pre-season. Huge relief.
You mentioned there, making sure this doesn't happen again next year. How do you go about making sure it doesn't happen again next year?
Try not to get us key players injured on a weekly basis. When I look at, I think the camera were on the players that were sat out there. You look at the quality that we've got on the sideline. I worked it out the other day. We had you know, when salary cap of 1.7, we had £800,000 sat on the sidelines, and you know, you're always going to be up against the 8 ball when you've not got your best players out. You know, the injuries, if there was soft tissue, if there were muscular, those kind of things, then you know, there's certainly going to be questions asked, you know, with regards, you know, what we're doing in training. But the fact that we've had 2 knee reconstructions, we've had 3 pecs, we've had a shoulder, syndesmosis, you know, we've got Bill 2 put back for 5-6 weeks, and then does a bloody pec in his 5th or 6th game back. You know, that's what's been really tough for us. You know, we've missed those senior guys. We've missed Matty Ashurst. You know, a disc problem there. That, you know, there's some key people that have missed a hell of a lot of that season. And you know, so you know, I think we've just been unfortunate. I think LFC went through it last year. You know, it's been our turn this year to get the injuries that we've had. So yeah, it's certainly been challenging in that respect, and disappointing that we can't put his best team out on the field. But I thought we showed certainly the first 8 weeks what we're all about, and you know, looking forward to getting the team back into pre-season.
Danny, was it just a game too far for the lads?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just falling at the final hurdle. Really, you know, Wakefield were very good and were real simple. Just kicked us to death, made us come off his own line, and yeah, just one too far for the boys. So yeah, absolutely devastated.
I know it's obviously going to be very tough to take. How do you look back on the whole experience and the whole season in general?
Yeah, it's been, I mean, what an experience for us all. A learning experience. I think we've all got better as the weeks have gone on, and so many ups and downs. It's been just an absolute rollercoaster. You know, some massive performances, some not so good, and so yeah, we can be proud of how we've gone about his business, and how we've improved. Like I said, that the majority of that side have come up from the Championship last year, and it just, you know, hopefully it's proved to a lot of people the quality down there, and you work with them and have a good group who want to get better each week. You know, they're capable of playing Super League week in, week out. You know, unfortunately, you know, we failed in what we set out to do. So yeah, there's loads of positives, but yeah, at the end of the day, you know, we've been relegated, so it's absolutely heartbreaking for the lads, because you know, they'll be so much better for the experience this year. It's a shame they can't just have another crack next year.
You touched on it a little bit there. Did they handle the whole occasion and the whole evening better than you?
I think we handled the occasion well. I just think we absolutely just got put under the pump from start to finish. We couldn't get out of our half. You know, Buffy was kicking us to death. You know, they played a perfect game plan. We were coming off. We were getting the ball a metre from our line, and they were getting it, you know, on the 30, on the 40 metre line. It was normally in games there's little momentum swingers where that goes, but it was just, yeah, relentless from them for 80 minutes, and and then when we did get down into good ball, we just didn't execute properly. But it was just, yeah, they played a very good game, and we just weren't good enough on the night.
And I know it's going to take a bit of time for it all to sink in and things like that, but are you confident you can rebuild this group? So obviously a few are leaving, and go again next year and try.
100%, yeah. You know, once it sinks in and we regroup, and we'll learn from this. But yeah, confident we'll go down to the champ and have a good crack at coming up. Yeah, there's going to be. We knew there'd be a decent rebuild, whether in Super League or champ, because of the amount of players leaving, really. So you know, we've got that to get on with and solve. But I'm confident that, you know, what we're doing down there in London, the lads who are stopping will be certainly better for this experience, and you know, we've got to give it us all next year now.
Is the most important thing not losing the progression that's been made over this season, both on and off the field?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've certainly got to build on it. It's just, you know, see it it's a little bit of adversity, and we've got to deal with it. That's life, and it can't always go your way. It can't always be positives. We've got to deal with that little blip and come out the other side and go again. Roll up his sleeves up and go again. That's all you can do as blokes, isn't it? So we've got to build on what we've done this year and all the positivity and all the strides we've made.
You'll have seen undoubted progress in some of the players as well, would you? Like, they've proved themselves to be Super League players.
Massively, yeah. Like I said, the majority were Championship players. They've had some who played in Super League a few years ago, but you know, the majority haven't played this level before. As young blokes who have stepped up from the academy haven't played this level before, and it's hard. It's hard playing Super League week in, week out for 28, 29 rounds, and that's what they've found. Sometimes we've had good hidings off teams, and sometimes we've had some great wins, and it's just that consistently playing at that top level. You know, they've come up against some of the best players in the world in this league, which is fantastic learning experience for them, and they're only going to be better for it.
Do you feel better as a coach for what you've done this season, what you've been through, what you've gone through?
I certainly feel like, again, I've got better and developed. I've learned lessons, and again, I've made mistakes and not always done things right this year. And again, it's all been massive development for us this year, and I've come out the other side, and yeah, can be happy with what we've done, but we've still failed in what we set out to achieve as well. So it's a little bit sweet, really.
In terms of the amount of points you went down with, I mean, 20 points, no side's gone down with that many. I mean, that makes it more sickening, I would imagine. You'd have thought with 10 wins we should have been sweet, but it's not. So it is. Again, we've won 10 games. There's been 10 great games we've won, and any other season that'd have been sweet. But you know, there's only one start that matters, and that's we bottom of the league. You know, so unfortunately we relegated. And in terms of the boys who are leaving, I mean, people have given absolutely everything for the cause tonight, and indeed all season.
Yeah.
Jay Pitches, Alex Walker, some of the main men are leaving now, aren't they?
Yeah. And credit to them boys, and I said that to them after the game. You know, like people questioning how they're going to turn up for this final month of the season. You know, people like Yatesy and all them at Pitses and Alex and Jordan Abdul last week. People questioning how he's going to play against Ulkiar, and that just shows the character of them blokes. They've been fantastic this year for us, and they've given us absolutely everything for all the season. And even then, even though you're moving on, they're absolutely tearing themselves to bits to get the win for the team, because the boys mean that much to them.
In terms of lads coming in, have you got possibilities of people coming in for the
It's been hard. It's been very, very hard to recruit, to retain, because we don't know where we're going to be at. You know, I think other teams have been in that same boat as well. It's a very hard position to be at. So we've been losing players, but not being able to recruit because we don't know about how much funding we're going to get, which league we can promise lads who are coming in. So it's been that is a bit of a nightmare to be in. But you know, now we hopefully know where we're at. We can crack on.
London end the season bottom of the table, level on points with Hull Kingston Rovers, but unfortunately for them, their points difference was not enough to keep them in the division. Who will replace them? We'll find out in the next few weeks. But it's fair to say a lot of people very disappointed that London were the one of the four to make the drop. Right, Women's Super League now on Saturday. Leeds Rhinos put Wakefield to the sword, 66 points to 4. And, what a game it was for our friend, former visitor to the studio, Forty20 magazine columnist Danica Prim. We'll hear from her. But first, we'll hear from the Wakefield captain, Danny Swain, on another defeat for Wakefield, but the lessons they're learning this year. Danny, tough afternoon out there this afternoon against a very impressive Leeds Rhino side. Plenty of defensive work to do as well.
Yeah, they were slightly disappointed with that performance. We didn't help ourselves out at times. I think we gave quite a few penalties away compared to last week. I think we gave one penalty away. We were lazy at times. Contact were there in defence. Sometimes it was good. We won the collision, but it wasn't consistent, unfortunately.
Your coach mentioned last week after the defeat against Castlewood that attitude was a key part to this squad. Was that the thing that was missing perhaps this week?
I think the attitude's still there. You know, when they're scoring tries like that, you know, sometimes heads do go down, but we don't. We do reload and we do keep going. I think the missing part today, we did have a few. I know Danica said the same. We're missing a few players. A few players have got a couple of knocks. Perhaps we are resting them for last game at season. You know, last run out. But it is what it is. We'll reload and go again.
Nice to get a try though this afternoon from Shackleton. It was a nice finish as well.
Oh, it's always a nice feeling. I know sometimes spectators are like, you think they'd won that game, but it feels good. Like, we've worked hard. We're going to celebrate it, even if it is that one try.
That's the thing. I think sometimes people don't understand that for a team who's not expected to win, little victories like that are really important.
Yeah, it just shows that hard work has paid off. It's a nice feeling. You know, that's what brings us together as a team.
One more game against Featherstone. That should be a cracking derby in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, well, I can't wait. I just can't wait. I know girls are excited. We're really working really hard towards that. See what happens. Bring it on.
Women of Steel shortlisted announced this week. Kelsey Gentles from Castleford, Emily Rudge from St Helens, and Lisa's Courtney Hill. 3 players. It's going to be very difficult to see who wins that one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a close call. All 3 girls fully deserve it, as do many more. It's nice to see that they promote this sort of thing in women's game, and I wish them all best of luck. They all deserve it.
One more game then for Wakefield. How do you feel this season's gone? It's always going to be difficult. We spoke at the start of the season. You were expected to finish bottom regardless of what happened. Coming up to Super League for the first time, how do you feel it's gone?
Overall, it's gone really well. You know, going from championships to winning most games to coming to this level, you know, it can be mind-blowing sometimes, especially with some of the defeats we've experienced. I've never experienced these defeats before. But we've all kept going. We're all still there. We're still together. We knew it was going to be hard, and we have improved. And now we know how we can play. We're all so excited for next season. You know, I don't even think we're having that much time off, but we're really keen to get back into it.
Danica, big win again today for the Rhinos against the Wakefield Trinity side. What did you make of the performance this afternoon?
Yeah, we've had a bit of a tough call coming here. We've got a lot of people out today, so we had a lot of rejigging. We had Laurie Holloran, who's just come back out of retirement, starting at half for us, and which meant Tash was pushing to scrum half, which is just, you know, it's amazing, isn't it, how much that jigs the team around a little bit, and then Abby in at full-back for Caitlin. So I think off the back of that and having so many people in different places, we've done all right, but there's lots to work on still.
Yeah, it did look that way in the early stages, that perhaps the keys, even as you usually have, wasn't there.
Yeah, and we just thought let's run it with the middles, but then the middles seem to want to go round the outsides rather than just do what we do best and hit it straight up. And then I think when we settled and we did go down the middle, that's when we got a bit of success and just slowed it down a little bit and let the backs play with it.
You mentioned Abby, nice hat-trick for her this afternoon as well, coming into a difficult position there, difficult boots to fill.
Yeah, she's an absolutely cracking player. You know, she's from the army and she gets to training when she can, and when she comes, she grafts really hard, and obviously she's already got the fitness and the skill, and she's rapid. So yeah, it's great having her in the side, and hopefully we'll make more of it next season for her.
Speaking of tries, you scored, but you didn't know what to do.
I've never scored a try from more than 2 steps out, so I think I'll put a little bit of footwork and then got over the line and was like, oh, you have to put it down now. So normally I just crash ball it, but yeah, nice. I think that's number 2 of the season, so not too bad.
And obviously nice to come here and get a win with momentum building. A big game in a couple of weeks against Wigan. By that point you could know where you are in the playoff race, but they're going to be tough opponents anyway.
Yeah, Wigan, you know, we always come up against Wigan and we've kind of got that bittersweet grand final, and they always put on a great show, and you know, hopefully we'll have Courtney back and Caitlin back and just a bit more settled but you know, it's nice to see that, because when we do get injuries like we've picked up today, you know, we're moving people around, it just shows that we can work when we've got them people in different positions. So I think we're going to get into training and just throw people around a little bit more and just get used to that and get used to playing off different people. And I think it comes from just that the confidence of the girls, like we had, you know, when Ness and Ellie Allroyd came on and just offering up the middle and just saying, like, just give me a drive. That's the type of stuff we need. So, you know, we're still highlighting things. We're only a little bit of the season left to go, but we're still highlighting some stuff.
No Courtney today, as you mentioned, but she's on the 3-woman shortlist of the Man of Steel. You look at what she's had to do in terms of not just her playing, but in terms of stepping up to that leadership role this year, filling in for Lois. She's had a big impact on the team, and obviously that's been shown by players elsewhere. Yeah,
it's fantastic. You know, when we play exactly the same as the men, we can't vote for our own players, and it's nice to know that the rest of the Women's Super League are voting for her and seeing what a great player and person she is. And just to kind of sum Courtney up, she came to training on Tuesday and we were making a big hoo-ha of it all, and you know, and congratulating, and she just said, stop girls, you know, I want to thank you and I want to thank the staff. You're the reason that I've got this, you're the reason I can play rugby. And we're just like, you know, you're a talented individual, it's not us, it's you. But she won't take any of the credit herself, and that's Courtney through and through, modest, humble and just ridiculously talented.
Finally, you're part of a pack who does lots of work out there today. Again, Anderson and Johnson very impressive in the metres made against this Wakefield side.
Yeah, and that's the reason why they're in the England squad. You know, that's the reason why they're flying out to Papua New Guinea. You know, they're fit and they're very small forwards in the sense that, you know, gone are the days of the big kind of wrecking balls down the middle, and we've got some agility and skill there now. And, you know, Kenla, they're kind of stepping up now to go out to, Danny's going out to Sydney and Jono to Papua New Guinea, and they're kind of like just building up towards that, and it's nice to see them leading the forwards and you know, leading us down the middle of the field. They're unstoppable and they're very skillful, and I can't wait to see how they tear it up for England.
Big results on Sunday for St Helens. They beat Wigan Warriors 28 points to 0, a game which could have put Wigan in a bit of bother because Bradford were breathing down their neck, and with Wigan's last 2 fixtures being Saints, which they lost, and Leeds on the final game of the season, they could have missed out on the playoffs on points difference were Bradford to have won both their matches. Well, it's academic now because Featherstone Rovers beat them. Featherstone winning by 22 points to 14. Another impressive performance from Fairfield, who've picked up 4 wins from their matches so far this year. And they've still got York and Wakefield to play, so it's not beyond the realms of doubt that they can actually finish above the Bradford Bulls and finish in 5th place. So the top 4 is sorted. Now the thing to be sorted. Oh, it's not, isn't it? Because I'm looking at the league table. That's not right. Castleford play York on Tuesday. If they win that, they will win the League Leaders Shield. They will be number 1 seeds. St Helens number 2, Leeds number 3, and Wigan number 4 going into the playoff semi-finals ahead of the grand final the night before the men's grand final. So busy weekend of playoff action. We'll talk all about it, and we bring you our previews and predictions on 4020 Live Monday from 6. Talk about all the things in Rugby League, maybe the dream team. Is anyone that bothered? I don't know. And whatever else is going on in the wide world of Rugby League. Join us from 6. Download the podcast, like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're on our YouTube. Loads of content up there all the time. Facebook and Twitter. Search 4020 Live or 4020 on Facebook. And the new magazine is out as well.